What if the biggest love story in pop culture wasn't really a love story at all? What if it started years before the relationship, before the dating rumors, before the wedding? Back when she was only 13 years old. In the late 2000s, the world was going through a full-blown teenage pop phenomenon. The Backstreet Boys had done it. NSYNC had done it. Then came One Direction and the Jonas Brothers. But in 2009, there was one name that seemed impossible to escape.
Hailey Bieber.
He was only a teenager himself, but the reaction to him was unlike anything most young artists had ever seen. His fans packed arenas, flooded social media, chased appearances, and sometimes became so overwhelmed that events had to be stopped. The phenomenon even had a name.
Bieber fever.
At one event in Australia, a performance was reportedly cancelled after several girls fainted after seeing the young star. Millions of teenage girls dreamed of meeting Justin. Most eventually grew up. But according to the story told by former Bieber superfan Dana, one girl never completely let the dream go. Her name was Hailey Baldwin. And this is where the story gets interesting. Because long before she became Hailey Bieber, she was simply a 13-year-old girl who had access to something most Bieber fans could only dream about: connections. In 2009, Justin Bieber was invited onto the Today Show to perform songs from his debut era, including One Time and One Less Lonely Girl. Backstage, 15-year-old Justin met 13-year-old Hailey. Her father, actor Stephen Baldwin, had brought her there. At the time, it looked completely innocent. A famous father taking his teenage daughter backstage to meet her favorite pop star. But it wouldn't be the last time Hailey appeared around Justin. She was later seen at one of his performances in Rockefeller Plaza. Then she traveled to Los Angeles for the premiere of Justin's movie Never Say Never. And once again, she managed to meet him. That encounter produced one of their earliest photos together. A few months later, Hailey was photographed holding a magazine featuring Justin on the cover. And there was an interesting detail in that photograph. Right beside Justin's picture was another young celebrity, Selena Gomez. At the time, Selena was becoming romantically linked to Justin. And eventually, she would become one of the most important figures in this entire story. Because Justin wasn't single forever. And Hailey wasn't the only person who wanted his attention. By 2012, Justin and Selena were one of the biggest celebrity couples in the world. But according to the transcript, Hailey was still keeping an eye on Justin. One particular incident would later become part of the speculation. Justin and Selena went out for sushi and a movie. And paparazzi footage appeared to show Hailey nearby. Was it coincidence?
Possibly.
Hailey had a famous family. Hollywood circles overlap. And celebrities often attend the same places. But then another piece of the story appeared years later. In 2019, a former Justin Bieber superfan named Dana posted a video claiming she had actually interacted with Hailey years earlier. Dana wasn't just an ordinary fan. She claimed she had run a Justin Bieber fan account with more than 200,000 followers. She had become a recognizable figure inside the Bieber fan community. And according to Dana, Hailey had followed her account when Hailey was around 15. The two allegedly began communicating online. And this is where the story takes a dramatic turn. Dana claimed Hailey would message her looking for information about Justin. Where was he? What hotel was he staying at? How could she potentially run into him? Dana claimed she gave Hailey information about Justin's locations. And according to her story, Hailey would sometimes use that information to place herself in the same environment. A hotel, a restaurant, a public appearance. Anything that could create another opportunity to cross paths. Dana described the pattern as essentially trying to bump into Justin. And if true, this would completely change how those old encounters look. Because instead of random coincidences, they could appear like deliberate attempts to get closer to someone she admired. But there's an important distinction here. These are allegations and recollections from a former fan. They aren't proof of every event described. Still, the digital trail created an intriguing picture. Dana showed old tweets and screenshots that she said demonstrated her interactions with Hailey. One example involved Hailey discussing Justin's height and wondering how much taller he might become. Another showed Hailey asking whether a tweet from Justin was real. And then there was something even more revealing. Hailey actually participated in a Justin Bieber fan project organized by Dana. The project was inspired by a lip-sync video involving Justin and Selena. Hailey sent Dana a clip of herself to be included. By this point, Justin and Selena had already broken up and gotten back together several times. But their relationship would eventually reach its longest separation yet. And suddenly, Hailey's access to Justin was about to become much easier. Because she no longer needed fan accounts to find him. She had new friends. And those friends happened to be very close to Justin. The Jenner sisters, Kylie and Kendall Jenner, were part of Justin's social circle. Hailey became close with them too. And now the distance between Hailey and Justin was shrinking. The fan account was no longer necessary. The information was coming directly through mutual friends. Then came a series of sightings. Hailey was seen having dinner with Justin. They went to a movie. And later, Justin returned home with her. She wasn't photographed leaving until the following morning. At this point, the story had moved far beyond a teenage crush. But Justin's heart was complicated. He had recently separated from Selena. And despite their breakup, his feelings for her hadn't simply disappeared. In interviews, Justin continued speaking about Selena. He described their relationship in extremely emotional terms. He talked about how deeply they had loved each other. And for someone who allegedly wanted Justin's attention, hearing him talk about another woman that way couldn't have been easy. Then came New Year's Eve. Fans began speculating about Selena's trip to Dubai with Kendall Jenner and Gigi Hadid. Some online theories suggested that Selena being away created an opportunity for Justin and Hailey. But again, speculation isn't evidence. What we do know is that Justin wasn't immediately looking for another serious relationship. He appeared more interested in having fun and living his life. And Hailey's behavior began attracting even more attention. After being photographed leaving a building with Justin, Hailey posted a video in which she asked her driver to change the radio station when a Selena song started playing. To many fans, it looked like a message. Then came the social media activity. Hailey appeared to accidentally retweet posts pairing her with Justin. She also interacted with posts involving Selena. And slowly, the online narrative began changing. What had started as a teenage crush was becoming something much bigger. Then fans noticed something else. Something that would fuel the internet for years. Hailey appeared to be copying Selena. Not once, not twice, but repeatedly. And that brings us to the second half of the story. Because the most controversial part wasn't simply that Hailey wanted Justin. It was what happened after Selena was already deeply established in Justin's life. Was Hailey simply inspired by another celebrity? Or was something much more deliberate happening? Because the similarities were about to get much harder for fans to ignore. The story becomes even more controversial from here. Because according to online fans, Hailey wasn't simply interested in Justin Bieber. She was allegedly becoming increasingly similar to the woman Justin had loved before her, Selena Gomez. Fans began compiling side-by-side comparisons of Hailey and Selena. The outfits, the poses, the facial expressions, the timing. In some cases, Hailey would appear in a similar outfit shortly after Selena had posted wearing something comparable. Now, coincidence is absolutely possible. Celebrities follow the same fashion trends. They shop at similar stores. And social media makes it incredibly easy for people to notice similarities that would otherwise go unnoticed. But the comparisons kept coming. Then came the tattoos. In June 2015, Selena Gomez was photographed with a small G tattoo behind her ear. Selena said the tattoo was connected to her younger sister, Gracie. 12 days later, Hailey was spotted with a remarkably similar G tattoo in the same general location. Hailey explained that her tattoo was connected to Georgia, the daughter of her pastor. Two people can absolutely have similar tattoos for completely different reasons. But because of the history surrounding Justin and Selena, fans immediately connected the dots. And the speculation only grew. Then Selena's personal struggles became part of the story. In 2018, Selena entered a mental health treatment facility in Connecticut. The transcript alleges that Hailey was seen driving past Selena's home with her pastor's wife to see whether Selena was still receiving treatment. That claim is particularly serious and should be treated as an allegation rather than established fact. But regardless of whether every online claim was accurate, the rivalry narrative had become enormous. And then came the biggest twist. Justin and Selena briefly reunited in 2018. For a few months, it looked like Yelena might actually return. But eventually, Selena ended the relationship. And only months later, Justin married Hailey. The timing was extraordinary. Hailey had gone from being the teenage girl who wanted to meet Justin Bieber to becoming his wife. But there was still a question. Had she really been waiting for this moment for years? Hailey later said that she and Justin officially started dating in 2016. Yet Justin had been romantically involved with Selena again shortly before his marriage to Hailey. That complicated the timeline. And then came another social media controversy. Selena released Lose You to Love Me, a deeply personal song widely interpreted as reflecting on her relationship with Justin. Almost immediately afterward, Hailey posted a screenshot showing the song, I'll Kill You by Summer Walker. Hailey later said the timing was coincidental, but fans interpreted it differently. To them, it looked like another message in the ongoing Selena-Hailey saga. Then there was another tattoo. Hailey eventually got a J tattoo on her ring finger. Obviously, the most straightforward interpretation was that it represented Justin. But fans noticed similarities between the design and a ring Justin had given Selena years earlier. Again, one image led to thousands of theories. Then came Selena's album release party. According to the claims in the transcript, Hailey allegedly appeared at the same restaurant even though she wasn't invited. She reportedly arrived before the party and stayed long enough for the events to overlap. According to social media posts from that night, Selena's music was playing inside. Hailey's stylist allegedly requested Justin's song Yummy. When the request wasn't fulfilled, people at Hailey's table were allegedly heard shouting Justin's name. Whether every detail of that story is accurate or not, one thing was undeniable.
The internet was watching.
And then came perhaps one of the strangest comparisons. Selena had launched Selena Plus Chef, a cooking show filmed inside her home. Years later, Hailey appeared in a cooking series called What's in My Kitchen? Fans immediately noticed similarities. Both used a home kitchen setting. Both emphasized the idea of cooking at home. Both featured introductions involving older family members. Both used production elements designed to create a casual, homemade feeling. And online viewers began accusing Hailey of copying Selena once again. Hailey's show eventually released only a handful of episodes before disappearing. Then fans started digging through interviews. And they found another alleged similarity. Hailey spoke about wanting people to understand her heart rather than letting outsiders define her. Selena had also spoken publicly about wanting people to understand her heart. The clip of Selena that fans pointed to wasn't even easy to find. It appeared to be buried on a relatively obscure fan account. So, if Hailey really had seen it, some fans argued, she would have had to go searching for it. But once again, there is no definitive evidence proving that she copied Selena. At this point, the entire story had become a giant internet puzzle. Every outfit was examined. Every tattoo was compared. Every Instagram post was analyzed. Every interview was replayed. And every coincidence became potential evidence. But here's where the story becomes bigger than Selena and Hailey. Because Hailey did eventually get what the teenage girl from 2009 seemingly wanted. She married Justin Bieber. After years of being connected to him, she became his wife. From the outside, it looked like the ultimate ending to a teenage dream. The girl who once wanted to meet Justin Bieber backstage had eventually ended up standing beside him at the altar. But that raises a much more interesting question. What happens when you finally get the thing you've spent years chasing? Because according to the transcript, Hailey spent years building connections that brought her closer to Justin. From meeting him, through her father's connections, to attending his performances, to following his career, to communicating with Bieber fan accounts, to becoming friends with people in his social circle. The path eventually led to marriage. And that's why people online began joking that Hailey had executed a 10-year plan. But reducing someone's life to a conspiracy theory isn't necessarily fair. People grow up. Teenage crushes can become real relationships. Friendships can happen naturally. And celebrities can wear similar clothes, get similar tattoos, or make similar shows without secretly copying one another. The internet is exceptionally good at connecting dots. Sometimes those dots form a genuine pattern. Sometimes they create a story that isn't really there. And there is another uncomfortable question. After spending so much of her adolescence focused on Justin Bieber, who was Hailey without him? From her teenage years into adulthood, so much public attention was centered around her relationship with Justin and her perceived rivalry with Selena. Meanwhile, Selena continued building her own career, music, acting projects, and beauty brand. Justin continued dealing with the pressures of global fame. And Hailey built her own beauty company and public identity. Yet somehow, the conversation kept returning to Selena. Even after Hailey and Justin married. Even after they built a life together. Even after years had passed. The rivalry narrative simply refused to die. And then came another strange moment. Following the announcement of Hailey and Justin's pregnancy, Selena Gomez reportedly became a trending topic online. Not Hailey. Not Justin. Not even the baby. Selena. That alone showed how powerful this rivalry had become in the public imagination. Then rumors surrounding Justin and Hailey's marriage began spreading online. There were claims about them arriving at events separately. Claims that they weren't living together. Blind items made allegations about Justin's personal life. But blind items are anonymous by nature and should never automatically be treated as fact. Rumors are not evidence. And neither are internet theories. The truth about a celebrity marriage is usually known only by the people actually inside it. Still, after everything that had happened, the public couldn't stop asking one question. Was the teenage dream finally over? Or was Hailey still following the same blueprint? Because for nearly a decade, Selena had been part of the equation. If Selena moved in one direction, fans noticed Hailey seemingly moving in another. If Selena released something, people watched Hailey's reaction. If Selena changed her appearance, fans searched Hailey's social media. If Selena launched a project, people looked for similarities. At some point, the question stopped being, did Hailey Bieber copy Selena Gomez? And became, why is Selena still such a central character in Hailey's story? Maybe the answer is simple. Maybe it's because the internet created the rivalry. Maybe it's because Justin connects them. Maybe it's because millions of fans never stop comparing them. Or maybe the truth is much less dramatic. Perhaps two women who shared the same famous man simply became permanently connected in the public imagination. And that brings us back to where everything started. A 13-year-old girl meeting a teenage pop star backstage. At the time, nobody could have predicted where that moment would lead. Years later, she would become Hailey Bieber. Justin Bieber would become her husband. And Selena Gomez would remain one of the most discussed figures in their story. Whether you see Hailey's journey as determination, coincidence, ambition, or something more complicated, one thing is impossible to deny. The girl who wanted to meet Justin Bieber eventually became the woman standing beside him. And perhaps the strangest part of the entire story isn't how she got the